Hey guys. You guys feel really good, don't you? It's about to feel a whole lot better or a whole lot worse. Okay, so if I could get your attention real quick, I know it's a huge house, but this is kind of an important thing. A lot of these, less rock, more talk for the next few moments. Our friend Bob, who was in a band called Nuclear Power Pants, and who's now writing a lot of poetry, and who's a really big Wham City member, can't be here tonight, but this is sort of inadvertently a benefit for a really bad disease that he's gotten, and a lot of this is going to take care of those costs. And he's been writing some really awesome poetry. I went on a poetry tour with him, and we collaborated on a poetry tour together. Yeah, it's really boring. So yeah, these people up here said that. So I'm going to read some of his poetry real quick, and then Future Islands is going to come on, so you don't have to complain for too long. Alright. So this is from Bob O'Brien's book called Ant Killer and Other Poems. Some of you may know Bob, some of you may not, but to the people that know him, he's kind of a really intense force that you kind of just can't help but get inspired by. So here's to Bob O'Brien. This one's called War. It's from his book. In my dreams I start a war of metals and brotherhood and good-natured cussing, and yes, trench foot and shrapnel and tears. But the trench foot of dark infant glory, the shrapnel of stately limps, the tears of chaste nationalistic Teresas, a breathtaking panoramic landscape cast of thousands. Troop formations conform to the golden ratio. Bombing targets are chosen by the I Ching. In my dream war, the enemy comes running straight at you, naked except for war, and skewers himself on your bayonet, and no blood, just small, clear rivers of war, and his God carries his soul straight to heaven, and your God makes sure you never die in a war. A soldier clutches a small bird a short distance from a village where a boy on a rooftop is mistaken for the devil and shot. The bird is warm in his hand. He lets it go. These kinds of moments are accompanied by breathtaking music. There is a vast treasonous movement against my war. The youth spend their youth on my war. Kissing, drinking each other's tears, they come of age in a time of war. My war equips Tibetan monks with enough firepower to reliably enforce reincarnation on the ground for combatants and non-combatants. And just as you are crawling out of each mortar fire, you come upon a mound of angel-faced young bodies, stabbed to death by the sharpened ends of rose stems. And the roses continue to bloom. Kiss everyone you've wanted to kiss. It's time for war. I'm beating a drum. I'm getting some action. I'm driving out all poisons. The decimated nation's purgatory 20, 30, 40 years and re-emerge as the world's next great economic miracles. Scarlett Johansson. I didn't write these, Bob wrote these. Hail Scarlet, Aphrodite Porne, too much lipstick and perfect mouth. All my orgasms are dedicated to you. Thank you for giving me yourself to me so completely. This one's called Neil Young. 10 years ago I was punched in the chest, 14 years old, by a man who couldn't see me past his drunkenness in the heat of the afternoon. Vernon, New York, August 5th, 1997, at the horse racetrack, transfigured by the promise of music, by beer and pot and bottled water, by Beck, Primus, morphine, by free samples, by the hopelessly sad people and the eternally happy people at the horse track where I waited for Neil Young, transfigured by my waiting. Someone, I think, was selling doves. The sunlight gave me a headache. I remember very little of morphine's... Excuse me, okay, what's your question?
Why is this happening?
Because we have a good friend who's related to all this that you came to watch, who your money is going to help very much. Thank you. I remember very little of Morphine's performance. Forgive me, but I didn't like them at the time. Only Mark Sandman saying we used to worship women with large asses, but it isn't like that anymore. 2 years later, he would collapse of a fatal heart attack on stage in France. 4 years later, I would decide that I really loved his music. I refigured the whole thing in my memory. I see him on a lotus blossom and adorn him with marigolds. He didn't know I was there. It's dark. Neil walks onto the stage. Trash tortures. His guitar grips his teeth, mainly singing about needles. It's my first haloed experience. Now approaching the microphone with aimlessness of tragic drunkard, he speaks, "How you doing? They told me you weren't going to show up. I thought it just would be me. It wouldn't be staying without you." And we told him we've always been there, just waiting for this moment. Just a couple more, and then William Cashin, Sam Herring, Garrett Welmers are coming on. In case you don't know who those people are, they're Future Islands. So thank you for coming. There is nothing inside the articulated blackness of the ant body, a smear, nothing that will survive a napkin. To the just dead Bob Fisher. You were brilliant at something very specific. You injured yourself with personality. Everyone loves that you were crazy. I agree with you about the back row. Don't agree about the Jews. Am secretly thrilled when I think of you tearing the fillings from out your mouth. Thank you.